Evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. All right, should have everything up and going. I'm gonna jump into some not Dark Shadows stuff real quick because I didn't realize this was a thing. Lady Gaga. Yesterday, there was in the recommended something about it from the official MTV channel. I never watch it, so I don't know why it was talking to me, but apparently she was at the VMAs a month ago, maybe, and performed Abracadabra, and then it was like Slash Dead Dance. Oh, what's up, Art? Glad you made it. Um, I at first I thought Dead Dance that sounded like one of the interludes that was at the either at when she performed at Coachella or at the Mayhem Ball. The interludes at the Mayhem Ball were not as strong as at Coachella, but there were a few good things. I don't really I wasn't trying to like compare the two concerts together. I just if I cared that much I would, but it's if it was a better concert I would know, but I don't. And I'm like, okay, cool, but why would she perform a full ass song plus some interlude? I don't know, whatever. She can do whatever she wants. So then today I just wanted to listen to some Lady Gaga for some reason. Go into my playlist and like all these like no views deleted videos. So what it was, the 1 hour loops that only played twice and they played a commercial. I guess those got axed. So okay, fine. So I was just finding replacements for those and as I'm doing that, you type in Lady Gaga and the name of a song. The first thing it gives you is the official versions, which I listened to those once. I'm not trying to give her additional clicks, but and then it recommends stuff you don't ask for, and one of them was some official video called "The Dead Dance," from the Lady Gaga channel. So I'm like, what? So I go to Brave, I look it up, I'm like, like WTF, and something about how there was a digital re-release, and this is on it. Okay. What's it go to? Glad you made it. What's up? Uh, so again, I'm thinking, well, like she turned an interlude into a whole thing. So then I looked at the time, and it's the length of a proper song. So I'm like, is this an interlude she turned into a song? Okay, so there's an official video. I click on it, and it's longer than just the audio version, so there's going to just be some extra stuff going on. And which she is known to do that, so that's not weird. But you click on it. Oh, we owe you, Bill Cooper. What's up? Hi, Nikki. I'd be lurking for a bit while making supper. Oh, what's for supper? Food. Uh, I click on the video, and right away I'm thinking, I think she still thinks she's the Countess from American Horror Story Hotel. Kind of not mad at her for it. I love that season. But the Dead Dance and starring Lady Gaga, directed by Tim Burton. That guy. So I don't know if he films music videos. So I've assumed there's just one. So I'm like, okay. It's black and white, which is fine by me. When things are black and white, you have to pay more attention to like lights and shadows, so it's still interesting. Gaga's done up. She's like super pale. Her skin looks cracked, like maybe she's a porcelain doll. This big, huge, curly white hair. And at one point, she turns her face to the camera in such a way, and the curls are in front of her face in such a way that they hide her giant, ugly, fake cheekbones. So she looks pretty. Like 2011 pretty. Like, oh, do that more often. I hate her Kylo Ren face, but whenever you can cover up, then I like it better. So that was cool, but I get not even 2 minutes into it, and she always does this. She always does this. Like all of her songs will start out so strong with so much potential, and then like maybe even the first bridge is okay, and then you get to the chorus and you wish you never clicked on the video because now you've got to spend another 2 minutes listening to a song that you started it, you might as well finish it, so you're just stuck with it. So this starts out, it's kind of not really that spooky, but it sounds like it's going to be maybe a hot dance track, and it really starts building up to it. And I was kind of not, I was really kind of understanding maybe like 40% of what she was saying. So I had to stop there to watch a lyric video instead, and then I'll get back to it. But before I could do that, the beat kicks in. What decade do you think it's set in? What decade do you think it's set in? What decade do you think Lady Gaga would set a song in based off listening to Mayhem? Okay, I guess you have two choices. It's the 80s. It's not the 70s. It's the 80s. It sounds very 80s. I'm like, hold on, let me stop here. I know I'm not going to have a great time. Let me watch the lyric video so I know what she's even saying. Did that. Lyrics are meh. Okay, but I know what she's saying. Let me watch the actual video. That's gonna help. That's gonna help sell me on the song. And if it doesn't, then that's the director's fault. It's an interesting video. It's like something mostly just with herself, so it's something they can shoot really quick. I assume she's still on tour. It is like a proper full length fleshed out song. It is rather 80s. I will say it's better than something like Kill for Love. It's not something that would come on and I would immediately shut off. Like, I could let it play in the background. I would notice because it's 80s, like WTF, but it's not so offensive. I don't feel like I've got to put on like the blue eyeshadow and crimp my hair to listen to it. But it is very from a time before she was born. Honestly, you could take this song back exactly 40 years and it would probably slap. It's Halloween time, it's spooky, it sounds like the 80s. I really do get that vibe. That was before she was even born. Um, so yeah, it might have been killer 40 years ago, but it's not 40 years ago, it's current year. And it's just a song I don't have to learn. I'm like, oh, good. It's just one more thing I don't have to. It's not like it's that complicated of a song, but I've heard it twice. I could listen to it a third time, but I don't see the point. Yeah, so what is she really gonna be doing with herself? I kind of can't wait for 15 years from now when she gets into the 60s music, and then in 30 years she can get into the big band music and do swing music and bring that back, since she just can't get with modern times. So it's just an 80s song that's we kind of don't need it because we have Abracadabra. That's been out for almost a year. That's the spooky, creepy, twitchy, dance video. When she comes out with the cane and all that and the hat, I love that part. We already have that in our lives. So what is this for? It's like a very watered down, doesn't even touch Abracadabra 80s song. And the actual dance. I don't know. Like I don't want like I watch dancers, but I don't memorize dance moves. And I know Gaga's one to repeat dance moves. That's okay. You're allowed to. But I don't. I could. I kind of want to say she's like copying maybe some other dance moves that I just don't know. It's not like the dance is bad or anything like that. It's good. It's okay. The thing with Gaga is she hurt her hip like 10 plus years ago. So if I were to copy the dances, it would be easier because I wouldn't have to stand up and jump around so much. But it's just something that's out there that's very. Like if I was going to like an 80s themed Halloween party, I would never, but you could play that brand new track and it would sound retro as fuck and nobody would know. So that's what that is. So if it's out there, like check it out. I didn't watch the VMA performance. I just watched the official video and a lyric video, so like it's fine, but it's just more. She still doesn't know what year it is. So that happened, but I didn't know what it was at first. I thought she just took an interlude and just stretched it out for almost 5 minutes. Like you can't do that, honey. But no, she fleshed it out into a song, and it's could have put it on Mayhem and it would have been I don't know how if I would have liked it if it was on Mayhem proper, because that is as it is with that album, it's only 10 songs for me and the other four just should not have even been written. So yeah, that's out there. I'm glad she's giving that guy Tim Burton work. I like his films. I hope he gets successful, but I hope he doesn't get so successful that all of his work becomes watered down and super CGI. I would hate to see that. That would be so sad. But yeah, like I couldn't even tell it was Tim Burton filmed it. I don't know if he films music videos. It was nice. It was all like great makeup and style and all that stuff. But it's just it's kind of sad. If that would have happened 10 years ago, I would have flipped out. Oh my God, Lady Gaga and Tim Burton. Same thing as House of Gucci. If that would have come out 2 years earlier, I would have freaked out because it's Lady Gaga and Adam Driver. Love him in anything. But it came out when it did in something like 2021. Zero F's given. Still have not seen it. It might be on Netflix, but I have to cancel that before I get billed again for it on the 11th. So I'm not planning on rushing to watch it. But yeah, that's out there. It's like again, it's just okay, but just okay from Lady Gaga is not good enough. So that's she just could have just deal with what's on Mayhem. Why can't you just release a single? I just want how bad do you want me to be a single? I'll be honest. Just release that as a single. Great. Not a killer or a kill for love or any of that other crap. But it's something. I guess if you like the '80s, you would totally dig it. Not my bag, baby. But yeah, I watched my last show back. The audio stayed with me. Great. I don't have to repeat any of the episodes I did the last time. Yesterday? Yesterday. Yeah. Wow, it's yesterday. So that's good. Nobody wants to hear me say the same thing twice. Oh, and I would feel really bad. What if I start doing second takes better than my first takes? Oh my God. I'll have to rethink my whole career. But oh yeah. I do have to say this. I was looking at Discord. Frank has a schedule up there. I usually don't click on it, but I was looking around for something else, found that, and he has October 10th at 7 p.m. listed. So I'm like, wait, hold on. Let me go to the official quitefrankly.tv. And let me do this again now, real quick. Quite frankly, TV, go, volume down, turn the phone to the side. Scroll, 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 scroll. Okay, yeah, it says October 10 at 7 p.m. It says The Playhouse, episode 1. That's, I assume that's Frank's, him and Anthony, you're starting their own channel, doing their own thing. That's got to be what it is, but I'm not 100% sure. I won't know until tomorrow when we go to Quite Frankly. And I assume Frank's going to say something about it, and hopefully maybe the ads are not every 5 minutes so I can hear him talk about it. But if he's going live at 7 p.m., I won't be live on Friday. I'll just go live on my usual Saturday, so that's fine. And then, yeah, I guess Frank is doing a Saturday show, but so am I at my regular time. So good for him. I don't know what he's doing on New Year's Day, because it's not New Year's Day for him. It's just October. What's up, Stosu? Glad you made it. So yeah, no October 10th show for me. That it's a hard maybe. I'll tweet something out officially tomorrow after Frank says something at his show, and if not, I'll just make a decision, yes or no, and I'll tweet it out and I'll put it on YouTube so you're not just guessing. Like, well, Nikki said she didn't know, so WTF. But I'll put something official out there. But as it sits right now, it looks like no Friday show for me, but that's okay. We got the usual Saturday show. I don't want that there. Okay. Had to say that. It's just it's the last day of my year, but I don't really do anything. The last day of the year doesn't matter to me. It's more about New Year's Day for me. It's not like I'll be up drinking at midnight's not midnight for me. It wouldn't make any sense for me to be. I'm not a drinker anyway. Let me just get off of that. So yeah, maybe no Friday show, but that's all right. We will see. A definite hard maybe, like 75%, maybe. The other 25% maybe is a no, probably. We'll see. I'll get it nailed down for you guys. So let's get into some Dark Shadows. I'm going to do the same thing after this one episode. I'll check the volume. If it's fine, I'll leave it go. I want to trust this stuff, but I want to trust a lot of stuff that lets me down. So, Dark Shadows, episode 61. This aired September 1966. And it's still the 6th day. It's night. I probably should have mentioned the little bit of the recap. Just the F's in chat for Bill Malloy. That was his body in the water. The Coast Guard found him. Word's getting around town. I think everybody knows by now. So now the sheriff is suspicious of everybody who was at that meeting. He knew it was Burke, Sam, Roger, and he's got his eye specifically on those three. But it's night. We're at the Evans cottage. And remember the last episode, and Sam didn't want Burke coming over, so it's like, hey, Maggie, lock the door. She barely gets to it. There's Burke barging in. He always barges in. He might knock, but he doesn't wait for an answer. So I always say he's barging in because he does. He just thinks he owns the world and acts accordingly. So he just walks right in. It's not like the Evanses ever lock their door. And nobody really feels like seeing him right now. And Maggie's just a little bit, she's always very pleasant, but she's just a little bit miffed. She really had not planned on 4 for dinner. She's got Victoria over. This is the first time she's been to the house. She just thought it was going to be her dad and Victoria and herself. Now here's just Burke just there. And she's just being polite. I hadn't planned on 4 for dinner. You take the hint. And Burke's just, oh, that's fine. I'll just have a sandwich. It's like, yeah, let me go make that. It's like, eat it fast. They don't say that, but you know they're thinking it. So Burke's just, he just wants to shoot the breeze, talk about his murder trial. And, you know, there's Victoria there. It's like, oh, well, what has Sam told you about that night 10 years ago? Did he tell you my side of the story? And he kind of doesn't wait to be, it sort of doesn't matter what anybody has to say. He's going to say what he wants to say. And he's talking about he knew he didn't stand a chance against the richest family in town with Roger lying on the stand. So he says that Roger made him pull over so he could drive. And Sam's just, oh, I know, this bottle's empty. Let me go get another one from the kitchen. So he just scoots out of the shot. Burke says this. He said, I could be wrong, but I'm not. That's when I'm like, maybe he's a Capricorn. I'd always think it's Scorpio before. Something like that. That's something I would say. Like, yeah, it could be wrong, but you don't always want to be right. So Maggie, like, oh, well, let me check on Pop, goes into the kitchen. He's not there. He just, there must be a back door, and he snuck out the back. So over at the Collinsport lobby, Sam walks in. There's Mr. Wells there behind the desk. And Sam's just asking for the, Maggie put a letter in that safe. He's just asking for that letter back. So Mr. Wells is like, oh, sure, yeah, Sam. So he picks up the phone, and Sam's like, what are you doing? Like, oh, well, like, I gotta call Maggie first. House rules. Whoever puts it in the safe takes it out. So over at the Evans cottage, Maggie has phoned the Blue Whale looking for Sam. He's not there. That's sad. That seems like that's her first call, to call the bar. Now, Burke thinks that Sam is involved with Bill Malloy's death. But Maggie says that Sam and Bill were good friends. And this is when Victoria mentions that Bill was at Collinwood about 10 p.m. the night he died. And Burke just keeps asking if Sam ever talked about his trial or the meeting. Dude, Maggie is the last person who would know. And Maggie just kind of doesn't believe all of what's happening. She's like, her pop would have testified if he knew the truth. And Burke says, well, we'll see. And he leaves. Maggie, all this, she just cannot believe her dad's involved. It's almost like she's like, she's hearing these words come at her, and it's almost like it's just bouncing off of her. There's no way her father could be involved. No way. Sam wasn't even there. Victoria says, maybe Bill was wrong. Maggie's like, I know, right? It's Sam and Burke always kept in touch before he left. So why did Sam run out just now? Maggie has no idea. So we're back in the Collinsport Inn lobby, and Mr. Wells tells Burke that Sam tried to get Maggie's letter out of the safe. But Sam's just waiting over in the restaurant. He wants to talk with Burke. And we are the Collinsport lobby credits. It's 8:54 p.m. on the clock. There's a little clock kind of just like way high up on the wall behind Mr. Wells. I want to take that as fact, but later on we see that they're not adjusting the hands on that clock. So we can assume that's what time it is now, but later on, I don't think it's always like 8:54 p.m., 8:54 a.m. when folks are in that lobby, but right now we can take that. That sounds about right. It's nighttime. Oh yeah, let's make sure. Where's my remote? Let's just make sure. I'm sure it is. I don't know, Twitter was acting up today. It's not like Mercury's retrograde or anything, but just in case. Oh, I did find a 1 hour version of How Bad Do You Want Me, but it cuts off at like 1 hour and 1 second, so it doesn't even finish the last playthrough of the song. They are serious. Okay, where am I at? Oh, my own show. YouTube. So I can't find it on here. You can't go to your own channel. Or if you can, I don't know where it is. My channel, this show, live, right now. Okay. Library. Here, you can't go to your own channel. Yeah, that's right. Cool. Or if you can, I don't know where it is. Right. I think the audio is cooperating. Exit. Turn that off. Off. Cool. Thank you for cooperating, equipment. No reason why the audio should mess up at all. It's bad enough. Can't find the top of this. Hang on. Oh, was I singing? Sorry. I felt like singing lately. I don't know why. There we go. Can't get that just right. That TV never seems bigger than when I'm trying to cover it up for the show. All right. It's all good. All right. We are on to episode 62. This aired on September 20th, 1966. And we're still on that 6th day. It's nighttime. Up in Burke's room. And, Sam wanted to speak with them. They're up there. He's basically telling them, like, that was a dick move crashing our dinner party. And then he's just, I just ran out because he didn't want to argue in front of Maggie. He doesn't want her to hear about any of that stuff anyway. So, like, I kind of believe him, but, like, dude, you just ran out. You just ran away. So over in Collinwood in the foyer, Roger's there. He is so interested in Victoria because she was just at the Evans cottage. He grabs her by the arm, like not roughly, but just I forget if it was like the upper arm or the forearm, but just enough that like like a you're coming with me into the living room. And he insists she tell him about her night. But Victoria doesn't want to talk about it. She says, "You want to know if we discussed Burke Devlin's trial, don't you?" Roger, so you did. So Victoria tells him what Sam said, and then she says, "Well, Burke showed up and told us his side." So back in Burke's room, Sam doesn't want Maggie to know about any of this. Burke says, "She knows because I told her and Victoria after you left." Sam is so pissed off, like, Maggie did not need to know about this. So Burke asks him flat out, "Did you kill Bill Malloy?" And Sam says, "No. I left home at 10:30 p.m. It was a 15-minute walk, but it took 30 minutes because he walked slowly so he could think." And he denies calling Bill Malloy or killing him. And he said, "You know I couldn't kill a man." "Oh, we owe you, Bill Cooper. Great to hear you've started singing, Nikki. I do it every day just for me. Like sometimes I do. Sometimes I go through patches, and I'll do it a lot. Sometimes I don't sing at all. Like I like to sing. I like to like as bad as my memory gets, I can still learn new songs. Uh, I don't know what it is. Like the last couple of weeks here at the end of the year, just kind of just been singing a little bit. I don't know. Okay. I don't know if that means I'm happy because I can sing when I'm sad too. So it's something. As long as I don't blow my voice out before one of these, it's fine. You always have to sing in the car. That's goes without saying. So over in the living room, Victoria's saying that Burke spoke about the meeting and said that Bill was at Collinwood and he was angry about that meeting. Now Roger's mad that she told Burke about that. So they're just trying to get their facts in order. That Victoria came downstairs at 10:30 p.m. and she said that Roger was on the phone, but she didn't hear with whom. And it was something about a meeting. And then those two spoke, and then he left at 10:35 p.m. And Roger says, "I didn't leave until 10:50 p.m. Victoria says, "If you say so." Really, Bill Cooper car singing mandatory for sure. Yeah, even if it doesn't have lyrics, like those 8-bit remixes of some songs they sing along to. So over in the foyer, Victoria is on the phone. Roger walks up, with Burke Devlin. She's like, "No, with Maggie." Yeah, I guess Sam's out somewhere. And she doesn't want to be involved in any of this. So Roger just comes up, like he offers her a job with his friend down in Florida, just a very, affluent couple. They've got a couple of kids. And Victoria's like, "No thanks." So back over in Burke's room, Burke's saying if Sam didn't kill Bill, lol. I get it now. My last show, they brought up the movie Kill Bill. I'm just putting that together now. I am on top of it. So if Sam didn't kill Bill, only one other person could have. We get a shot of the living room for the credits. Oh, I forgot to remember. Roger says he doesn't remember being on the phone. That 10:30 phone call that he made and spoke with Bill Malloy. We assume he says he doesn't remember making. Okay. Now, this does not come up on the show. This is just me speculating, but the fact that we know Roger has to hit the wet bar every time he comes home. He drinks basically as much as Sam. Maybe not as much, but I don't think either of these guys have been sober the whole show for a whole day. So if Sam gets drunk and forgets things, was Roger like a little bit tipsy and just forgot that he had made a phone call? I'm not really sure, possibly. I guess we'll find out. So this is episode 63, aired September 21st, 1966. It's night on that sixth day, or sixth evening, if you want to put it that way. We're at the Collinwood Foyer. It is 9:05 p.m. We must have seen the clock. Yeah, we just got a shot of the time. Now we're over in the Blue Whale. And Carolyn's there saying that the music is too loud. So she asks Joe to have them turn it down. It's a jukebox. Do those have a volume on it? I don't know. And she doesn't believe Bill Malloy drowned. Just cannot stop thinking about him. It's understandable. So in Collinwood in the living room, Liz asks Matthew if Bill had marks on his body. He didn't. So Liz says the cops say that Bill had a blow on his head. Matthew says it must have happened in the water. Liz is like, yeah, right? That makes sense. That's kind of what I would assume, unless he had like, they don't mention his skull was bashed in. They just say a bump on the head. So that's just a bruise. But you know how a body can get knocked around in the water. I've watched a lot of Law and Order. Like, I had notes taken on about 300 episodes. Don't have them anymore, but if I say 300 episodes of Law and Order cannot be wrong, I'm legit. And that's regular Law and Order, SVU, and Law and Order Criminal Intent for a set amount of time. So over at the Blue Whale, Maggie comes in. She's got her hair up. She's got that rope bow thing going on. Like up, is in like a ponytail. Oh no, wait, no, she's actually like done up, like her hair is up, like she's going to like a job interview. And then she's got this like this business like outfit. It's a skirt with a jacket. It's houndstooth. If you know what that style is, I didn't know what that pattern was, and then I found out. But that's that pattern. It should be a little bit more fitted. It is a little bit baggy on her. I don't know what that's about. It's not terribly distracting, but it's when you're used to seeing everybody's clothes fit correctly and something has a little bit of give to it, you're like, ugh, it's kind of frumpy. Just a little bit more tailored. But she's looking for Sam. Oh, she's looking for Sam and Burke. And then she's kind of fed up with Burke after he barged into the house and was just telling all of this stuff that she doesn't believe. And she wants Burke to get the fuck out of Collinsport. She's officially sick of that dude. And Joe likes the sound of that, man. He just, there's, Carolyn being sad and all this and turn the music down. Somebody comes in who hates Bill Malloy too, or not, who hates Burke Devlin too. Joe's for it. And Maggie's saying how things were nice for her and Sam before Burke arrived. And then she says she's going to visit Sam's partner in crime. Oh, Maggie's being cryptic. So back in Collinwood at the living room, Liz tells Matthew that Burke will keep asking questions about Bill's death. Matthew says this. He says, "Why didn't he stay where he was?" Liz tells him, "You're a good friend. Wish that guy would just leave us alone." So in the Collinwood foyer, somebody knocks. It's Maggie. She's there to see Roger. So Liz answers the door, come on in, and, takes her into the living room. Asks her if she's Sam Evans' daughter. And then just asks if her questions involve Burke Devlin. So Maggie asks Liz what she knows about that meeting. And Burke accused Sam of withholding evidence. And she hasn't had time to ask her father yet because she doesn't know where he is. It's still 9:05 p.m. This has been the longest minute on the show so far. So over at the Blue Whale, they just get a lot done. They're super efficient. People had to work, you had to get a lot done quickly back then, I guess. Anyway, at the Blue Whale, Matthew Morgan is there to meet Burke. And he tells Carolyn to tell Liz that everything's going to be all right about, concerning Bill. So Carolyn tells Joe why Matthew's there. They leave and then come back. Carolyn asks why Matthew wants to see Burke about Bill. So Matthew said that Bill is dead because of Burke. So in the living room, Liz is saying that Roger's not in. Doesn't know why Burke would lie about Sam. He'd do anything to achieve his goals. And that's when Carolyn comes home. She comes in, asks Liz if, do you think Burke is capable of murder? Liz, yeah. Blue Whale for the credits. She has no reason to like Burke. Yeah, he could do that kind of a thing. Yes, this. Cool. All right, episode 64 aired September 22nd, 1966. Damn, did that whole last episode only take place in... That whole last episode just took place in 1 minute. It was 9:05 p.m. at the start. It was 9:05 p.m. at the end. Wow, I just realized that. That is the most efficient episode I have ever heard of. Damn, it takes 20 minutes to watch it. It was 1 minute. I realize I just didn't, turn the clock, but I don't know, man. Maybe it was just 1 minute. But yeah, episode 64, September 22nd, 1966. Night on the 6th day. We're still in the living room. Maggie's taken off. Carolyn asks why Maggie was there. And she cannot believe that Liz thinks that Burke is capable of murder. Like, how can telling Maggie that help? The Burke hasn't done anything to harm the Collins family. So Liz says this. She says, "I am tired of warning you about that man. He'll use Bill Malloy's death to make trouble for the Collins family." Last page. And Carolyn doesn't know how. How can he make trouble for us over? She can't put stuff together like that. It's good she doesn't have a criminal mind, so maybe it's good. It's just beyond her. But she tells Liz what Matthew Morgan said, like everything's going to be all right concerning Bill. So at the Blue Whale, Burke comes in. Matthew Morgan grabs his arm, like, hey, sit down. We're going to talk. I got something to tell you. Get your hand off of me. So in the living room, Liz phones the Blue Whale, but they say that Matthew Morgan is not there. Carolyn says, well, Matthew said he wants to keep trouble away from you. And he would tear apart anyone who wanted to harm Liz. She says that. Maybe not verbatim, but she says that. So the phone rings. It's the sheriff. He just wants to see if Burke has been at Collinwood. No, not recently, no. So we're back at the Blue Whale, and Matthew's saying, like, yeah, I told the bartender to tell Liz I wasn't here. That's the first time he's ever lied to her. So it must be serious. Then he says he'll kill Burke if he doesn't stop bothering the Collins family. And this dude says something, he's serious about it. A big guy, too. And anytime somebody comes at Burke, rough, he doesn't match their energy. He kind of like smiles it off and, plays the nice guy. So, like, you can threaten this dude and get in his face, and he's not going to, like, threaten you back. He's more calculating than that. But Burke just wants to find Bill's murderer. He says Liz's problems are just starting. Yeah, fight. They go at it. Bar fight. Honestly, I think like the size of both guys. I mean, like, I realize Burke is younger, but Matthew's a bigger guy, and I think he'd probably fuck up Burke pretty bad if they were just like left alone to scrap. But that's when the sheriff happens to come in. He breaks it up. Then he takes them both to the police department. You're both coming with me. So at the police department, where's the rest of episode 64? I'll figure it out. Will I? Wait, is this the notebook where I screwed up? I did. Okay, no, I got it here. I'm good. Okay. Matthew Morgan is saying that Burke doesn't care about Bill. He only wants to make trouble for the Collins family. Oh. He doesn't want Liz to know about the fight. Like that's the only time he ever seems a little bit timid. Like, oh, you're not going to tell Mrs. Stoddard, are you? And there's a sheriff. He said, I told you to leave the detective work to us. So at the living room, Liz is saying that Maggie was here because Burke said Roger and Sam are involved with Bill's death. And Sam knew Roger was guilty and didn't come forward at the trial. But she's saying this to Carolyn. She said, would you rather believe that Burke's a liar or that Roger's a murderer? So at the police department, Burke thinks Roger killed Bill. That's just what he's just blurting it out now. So the sheriff tells him, it's like, well, stay away from Roger and Collinwood. And he tells Matthew to go work the farm and stay away from Burke. Like, you guys just separate corners. Don't even look at each other. So at the living room, Carolyn wants to ask Burke how he could lie about Roger. And there's Liz, if you must. Knock on the door. It's Burke. Liz really thought it was going to be Matthew. Yeah. So we get a shot of the Collinwood foyer from the living room front door credit. So that's when, like, if we're standing in the double doorway looking at the front door of Collinwood, that kind of a shot. So you got kind of like this little stone archway. There's like maybe a step, an area where you could hang up coats theoretically, but they're not. And then there's the door. Okay. Oh, and I guess we're on disc 8 now. I'm not really. I'm just writing it down. I'm not really saying it. I just happen to notice here. That's okay. That doesn't, again, that doesn't mean anything unless you have the box set, and it's a bit of an investment. I'm certainly not going to knock anyone for not owning it. That was a pretty penny a year and a half ago. All right, on the third notebook now. Wow. When you're double spacing, the notebooks go by fast. But the way I write, like my G's kind of dip down low. I just can't have all my like writing stumbling all over each other. So when I go to read it back live, you don't want to see me squinting at my own writing any more than I already do. Oh, it happens again. All right, first, episode 65 is September 23rd, 1966. Air date. It's night on that sixth day. In the intro, when Victoria's speaking, she says, "Dark shadows, Drake." It's like the second time. I wonder if they're going to keep doing that. They really don't say it that much. But there's Burke. Of course, he just barges right in. Typical. He says he's not leaving until he talks to Roger. It's like, oh, you're here. Come on in. Just kind of forced to be polite to him. Takes him into the living room. You know, Liz never wants to see this guy anyway. She's not like she can leave. But there's Burke looking around like he's, evaluating the place. I could buy this place 20 times over. Liz says, buy some manners. Girl, I know that's right. She asks what he wants to ask Roger about. And it just tells him to get out of here. And she mentions that the sheriff's mentioned that he might come over. So Burke's like, okay, we'll both wait for Roger. So at the Blue Whale, Roger's there. He phones Maggie looking for Sam. She doesn't know where he is. Door opens up. Sam walks in the bar. And Roger he insists that he tell him what he said to the sheriff. Like, you gotta tell me. And Sam doesn't want to talk about it. He grabs, like he's kind of sitting there with his drink, and he grabs his arm in such a way that he knocks his drink over. So, of course, that pisses him off. And he knows Burke was at the Evans cottage tonight. Sam says, I don't know. I didn't know I had to report all of my conversations to you. It's like I said, I didn't know what the meeting was about. I didn't know if it was about Burke's trial, because he's not involved. So over at the living room, that window that they open up, it's big enough to step through. It's basically a door. You really just have to lift up your leg a little bit, and you can just see, it's on the ground floor, and you just walk. So it's not like it's not very narrow like that. It's like a door. I hope they lock it. So Liz just, stuck there with Burke. She's making small talk about Collinsport with him. And he's finding it irksome, just the small talk stuff. Now Victoria comes down, sees him there. So, are you here to accuse Roger of killing Bill? Burke says, Burke says, Liz didn't tell you to question me. Don't get involved, you'll get hurt. Kind of like stay out of this mess, little girl. You don't know what you're getting into, and just that's sort of his position. But then he mentions he wants to have a quiet dinner with her sometime. Okay. Because remember, he invited her to dinner, but she was going to have dinner with the Evanses, so I guess he's still on about that. So at the Blue Whale, Sam's saying that Burke wants to find Bill's killer, but he knows it's not me. So Roger says, well, what happens to me happens to you. And that's when Sam asks about the money he offered him for him to fuck off to California. I remember that. It was like 5,000, then it was 6,000 he offered him. And that's when Roger withdraws the offer. He's not convinced by Sam's convincing Burke of his innocence. That's the thing. He's usually very convincing, but when he gets nervous and tries to act like he's not, nobody believes. Like he's not selling it at all. Like nobody believes you, Sam. You're just too nervous. Everybody can tell. Sorry, dude, we're not buying it. So of course Roger's not convinced. So Sam gets on the phone, calls Maggie, says that he's on his way home. And now Roger's changed his mind about giving that Sam that money. He's like, actually, no, I could give you that a 6K. But Sam's like, no, he knows it would be sus if he and Maggie just left Collinsport right now. No thanks. Damn, you just turned down. We looked that up before. $6,000 back then was something close to like $60,000 today. Bruh. But that's good. Sam's being brave. He's going to stay in town. He's going to stick it out and just face fate. So at the living room, Burke's just kind of just talking about his favorite topic himself. He said he liked Norway. He's done some traveling since he got out of prison. And just talking, crazy wild stuff. And Victoria's saying like she always wanted to ride bareback in one of the circuses, like dressed up in all that, like the spangly, glittery outfit. And Burke wishes she would just run away from Collinsport. And Victoria says, to what? All she has to go back to is the foundling home. So Liz comes back in. She's got some tea. Getting cute tea service. But a front door opens up. It's in the foyer. There's Roger coming in. So Liz goes up there to, catch him. Just, just to let you know, Burke's here. And we get a shot of the Blue Whale for the credits. That Kill Bill thing is still killing me. After watching this like 2 times through and doing a whole show yesterday, it just hits me today. Sharp as a tack. All right, episode 66 was on September 26, 1966. It's night of that 6th day still. We're in the living room. Roger's there. Heads right to the wet bar, pours himself a drink. And he accuses Victoria of prying, even though Maggie knows all their business. So Liz tells them to settle this once and for all. Sick of all this going around. Just get it over with. So over in the foyer, Liz is saying that, why can't Burke just, chill out with this vendetta stuff right now? Like, Bill just died. And Victoria says, well, he thinks that they're connected. It's back in the living room. It's Roger and Burke. And Roger doesn't care to, I'm getting in trouble. I wrote an acronym and I'm not sure if that's correct. Oh no, this makes sense now. Sorry about that. I'm okay. So Roger does not care about Burke's evidence, or he doesn't care about Bill Malloy's the evidence that he allegedly had, or the man's death. So Burke asks if he killed Bill, and he was going to make Sam say that Roger was driving that night, so only Roger had a motive to kill Bill. So up in Victoria's room, she's writing a letter. And Liz comes up and, notices that she's got a head down, handwriting. And I noticed this now, too, since Liz brings it up, that, like, Victoria's often writing letters. And so she figures, like, well, you must have a lot of friends back at the foundling home. Victoria's like, no, this is, I'm writing a letter to myself. It's an old habit from when she lived at the foundling home. It's, sort of like a diary. She's, kind of writes down what happens, mails it to herself. That way she knows she's got a letter coming. It's just, you got mail comes and it's just something to expect. And said not a lot's happened to her since she came to Collinwood, or until she came to Collinwood. And Liz just thinks that's sad. You can tell by the look on her face, but that is, man, you got to send your own self mail just to have something to look forward to. I mean, like, I've been lonely, but I never thought to do that. I guess whatever you got to do to spend time, but man, that's rough. I guess it gives you a chance to work on your penmanship. Right side. All right, so down in the living room. See, this is just me. I can't believe Burke's been in Collinwood this long and Carolyn doesn't know about it. Remember when she freaked out? Oh, Burke was here. Why didn't you tell me? And Victoria's like, well, he wasn't here to see you. So he's been in the house for at least 5 or 10 minutes and she doesn't know about it. So Roger's just sticking to his story. He said, I was here going over papers at 10:45 that night. I couldn't have killed Bill. And Liz and Victoria can verify the time. So Burke's like, all right, fine, go get him. So up in Victoria's room, Liz she says she knows what it's like to be lonely. Victoria says, well, you can leave Collinwood anytime and you have Carolyn. And that's when she mentions she just writes everything down like a diary and mails it to herself. And then she says she won't feel like she belongs anywhere until she knows who her parents are. It is a tall order, Missy. So Roger comes in. He says, tell Burke when I left so he'll leave. So Victoria's like, well, she'd like to help, but she says, I didn't see you leave. I didn't think it was important. She wasn't paying attention to the time. Roger's like, well, it's not, but tell him it was 10:50. No, it's not important, but tell him a specific time. So down in the living room, like, what'll it take for you to fuck off? He's just wondering, like, why would Roger kill my old friend? Burke said Roger killed Bill. Then he sent Matthew to the Blue Whale to kill me, to protect the Collins family. Oh, that's what Liz basically is asking him. I'm sorry I didn't write that down. In so many words, yeah, what'll it take for you to fuck off? Of course, you would never speak that way. That's the way I talk. So Roger brings down Victoria, and she's just basically backing up Roger. She believes he left when he said 10:50 p.m. Like, kind of like, what else would it be? And Liz is like, there, you've got your answers, now go. But Burke doesn't like that answer, but since it's coming from Victoria, he believes her. And then he does leave. Like, if Carolyn would have said it, I don't think he would have believed it, anybody else. But just because it's coming from Victoria and she's not a member of the family, like, he doesn't want to, but he believes it as much as he can let himself. Oh, wow, here we go. Progress. We are on episode 67. It is day 7. We are 1 week in universe into the show. In real life, it's been on for about 3 months, but the characters don't know that. It is morning. We're at the Collinsport Inn in the restaurant. Carolyn is asking Maggie, have you seen Burke around? Maggie's like, no, and that's perfect. She never wants to see him again. Actually, on second thought, she'd like to slip rat poison in his coffee. Damn, girl, like, we've never seen her like this. She's oh so nice. She might be sarcastic, but she's never, like, low key been, like, talking about murder. Like, she would never do it, but she's just that mad. So Carolyn says Liz told her what Burke said about Sam. And Maggie said that Liz said that Burke is capable of murder. And Carolyn's like, well, Liz, after you left, she took back that murder part. Burke thinks the Collins family sent him to prison 10 years ago. And Maggie's like, that's when everything changed. Burke went to prison, Roger married and left town. That's when Sam changed. So either Burke is lying or Sam and Roger are lying. Which one do you want to believe? So that's when Burke walks in, and Maggie is not thrilled to see this dude at all. I think she offers him a coffee. It's in this episode somewhere. I just remember that. Over at the police department, the sheriff tries to nail down when Sam left his house. So he asks if Maggie would know. Like, I hate, it sounds mean to say Maggie doesn't know anything, but it's just because nobody tells her anything. She just has to be her own detective and put these things together herself with zero outside help. Like putting a puzzle together face down. Oh, is this what it happens? Yeah. I think. Wait, isn't it? It is. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm freaking out a little bit. Sorry. We got a new actress on the show. I remember Mrs. Johnson, Bill Malloy's housekeeper, the teetotaler. She was at the house, but then Bill got the phone call, and then she had to go to spend the night with her daughter. Came back home. Bill's bed hadn't been slept in. Mrs. Johnson, she shows up. Her name is Sarah Johnson. Sometimes that comes up, but basically everybody calls her Mrs. Johnson. This is played. The actress's name is Clarice Blackburn. This lady. Not right now. I mean, she's very good right out of the gate. She's a very good actress. But later on, she does something that makes me think I'm going to see something special come out of this woman that's just going to totally rock my world and just totally just. I knew I was going to get something more out of her that was just going to devastate me. And I had that feeling for so long, for hundreds and hundreds of episodes. It carries on until maybe like episode like 901 or 1001, or it's got some odd like number like that. But we get to that episode, and there's a scene with this woman, and she gives a line, and her voice cracks right in the right spot, and I just completely crumbled. I lost all of my shit. Like, she's always great, and she does this one line, and I'm still devastated by it. The actress is always wearing a wig. It's nicely styled. It's dark hair. I forget if it's black or dark brown, but you do not see any scalp. She is on the show for many years. Spoilers. Every time you see her, she's always wearing a wig. I don't know what it is. Maybe she's blonde in real life. Maybe she just thought, I don't want to fuck around with sitting in a chair, getting my hair done, to just put the wig on me, do the makeup, do the clothes. I'll be there. Always wearing a wig that never goes away. But it's not like it's like down too low or like this or like crooked or nothing like that. But we're never going to see her real hair. Just accept it. But she comes into the police department, and if you didn't know who she was, you would think she was a grieving widow. She's wearing all black. She's got the little hat on with a little bit of the veil, and she's got her tissue or probably a handkerchief. She's got her little purse, and just kind of seems shaky. Like, you would really think, here's a woman whose husband just passed away, but that's his housekeeper. And she is not fucking around for 1 second. She says, "Who killed Mr. Malloy?" Not fucking around. She wants answers. And just like, even it might be this scene, it might be a later scene. She's just sitting there talking about it, and the actress legitimately like tear coming down her face. So she is upset. The actress is doing the damn thing. A lady like of a certain age, Mrs. Johnson, so we can assume like she was married. We know she has a daughter, and then she's been working for Bill Malloy for a amount of time. What's up, Nightcock? Glad you made it. This Howdy Balcony Gang. What's up? Smash that like button right meow. So over at the Collinsport Inn, Burke is saying that Carolyn is the only honest person at Collinwood. And just saying that to her. And Carolyn wants to hate Burke, but she can't. Maybe she thinks he's too handsome. I like, personally, he doesn't do it for me. Like, I understand why people would think he's hot. I get it. He just kind of like have this hard ass face. Like, I don't swoon over the guy. But that's okay. But yeah, Carolyn wants to hate it, Burke, but she can't. And Maggie's the same way. She doesn't really hate Burke. That whole poisonous coffee thing, that's just her getting her frustration out. She never gets any answers. Now you're accusing her dad of being a bad guy. Of course she's going to be pissed off. Like, you call my dad a murderer, and like the least, like the tamest thing that's going to come out of me is poison in your coffee. Like, I won't say anything. I'll just get you where you can't defend yourself. But anyway, I know I understand how Maggie feels about her father. But back at the police department, the sheriff is saying that Bill's watch stopped right after Mrs. Johnson left the house. But she heard Bill shouting on the phone, probably with a man. That's just her assumption. But she isn't in the habit of eavesdropping, but like, when your voice is that loud, you can't help but overhear. It was like that. And the last thing he said to her was that he wanted breakfast a half an hour early. And suicidal people don't order early breakfast and then kill themselves 10 minutes later. And she thinks the Collins family is behind Bill Malloy's death. They were his whole life. And she comes off like a widow, not like a housekeeper. That she is legitimately crying, like they do the close up. I mean, like the they're not using CGI. She's really like tearing up, like she is that upset. Voice is kind of shaky, just angry. You know how it is right after somebody dies. Like she's just embodying all of that. Oh, beat chap, glad you made it. What's up? So what the Collins poured in. Maggie's asking Sam, why'd you try to get my letter out of the safe? Mr. Wells told me about that. Sam's like, oh, I just wanted to add a postscript in there. Just it's like, by the way, Maggie, do you remember what time I left that night that Bill died? And Maggie says, who wants to know? And she thinks it's ridiculous that he needs an alibi. She says, like, well, the sheriff can ask me himself. So that's when the sheriff walks in and he asks. Up in Burke's room, Carolyn is saying that, telling Burke that Liz said that you said Roger knows about Bill Malloy's death, and then Maggie was at Collinwood asking questions. And then she does not believe it's true about Roger. Like, her Uncle Roger could never hurt anyone. And everything comes back to 10 years ago. And Burke's like, yeah, I thought the jury was wrong, and so did Bill Malloy, and that's why he was killed. So down in the Collins Port Inn, the restaurant, she insists that Sam left at 10:45 p.m. And he doesn't know how that she checks up on him all the time. She just seems to always be like calling the Blue Whale, calling up all these places. Have you seen my pop? Just anytime she can't find him, she's running to the phone, calling everybody to find out where he is. And that's just her. It kind of seems like it's been a routine for so long that she kind of doesn't think about it. Like, she just automatically called the Blue Whale the other night or last night. Yeah, we owe you Bill Cooper, Keck Nicky, right? I probably should have taken a drink of water before I did this. That's okay. But Sam's like, no, it wasn't 10:45. It was 10:30. I walked around for a while. Oh, there's, saying this in front of the sheriff. Walked around. And Maggie tells the cop, like she's just very factual. She's not smiling with the sheriff. She just doesn't understand why her dad's getting bothered. She just wants to give him this information. Like there. She says, you have the facts. So the sheriff leaves. So then Maggie asks Sam if it would it help if she read the letter. Would that help him out at all? And Sam's like, no, it's just my will. Maggie's like, you said it was life insurance. And, she loves her father, but she doesn't believe him. I think she says as much. It's like, I love you, but you're a terrible liar. So up in Burke's room, he's telling Carolyn about it. He's like, he knows he was drunk AF the night of that accident, but he knows he was not driving. And then somehow Bill found out. Maybe it was an accident. Roger and Bill fought, and he slipped into the water. So Carolyn decides she's going to ask Roger herself. And a shot of the police department for the credits. Can't believe I didn't write this. Is the first time. Mrs. Johnson. That's all right. I thought I made a note when a new character came on, but maybe I don't. That's okay. We kept because I'm coming from a place where I had watched episode 210 and all the rest a few times before I watched the beginning, so they start talking about a Mrs. Johnson. And at first I'm like, oh, is it like that Mr. Blair and he's got no relation to another character later on? I don't know, but they kept mentioning Mrs. Johnson. I kept writing it down. More thought about it, I'm like, this sort of sounds like her. And then they bring the lady out, like, she's not on a lot. Like, if the storyline does not involve her, it's not like we're going to see her in every episode and stuff like that. You know, sometimes they don't use her at all. Sometimes they bring her on. So it's not like she's on as much as it, like Liz and Carolyn and stuff like that. But she always adds just a little bit extra to the scene. It's whether it's her acting style or just her attitude about stuff. Cool character. You know, the older lady, just teetotaler. All right, we are on episode 68. This aired. Sorry, this aired September 28, 1966. I was just thinking of 2 years prior. That's the date when Harpo Marx passed away. Forgive me for that. He's fine now. It's still that seventh day. It's the morning. We're at Roger's office. Carolyn's there, and then she lets him know. Well, Burke thinks you killed Bill. And Roger said, I didn't. I wasn't even there. I was at Collinwood. And then he says that he and Laura were there with Burke, you know, that night 10 years ago, and Burke was definitely driving. And he had to tell the truth on the stand. And that's when Carolyn mentions, like, yeah, you should, believe them, but you haven't been very nice to Victoria. And Roger's like, well, maybe I should be. Like, he needs her to corroborate his story, so now he's got to be nice to her. Carolyn's hair, it's cute. It's got this little bow in the back of her hair. It's sort of like pulled back, and then like there's like a little bow back there. I can't do it with my hair. Sometimes her hair's down usually, but then like sometimes it's pulled back. We never see her in a ponytail. Now that I think about it, which is fine. You don't have to. So in Collinwood at the living room, Victoria, she looks more. This is the most like governess like she's ever looked. She's got all of her hair up. She's like a teacher. She's got like this sweater that's not very, fitted, a little bit, frumpy. It's not showing off her figure. But she just very looks like the school. Like, okay, A, B, C. The capital of this is that. When it's usually like her hair has been down, a little bit more casual, but I guess she's a little bit more serious today. And she's speaking with David. He mentions how he didn't like, he lived in Augusta before they moved back to Collinwood, or just into Collinwood. David's never been here before. And he's mentioned that his parents always fought. Roger was always picking on Laura. And they were just getting into fights. They'd be throwing stuff. They tore up the home fighting about Burke Devlin. He remembers that name being brought up from when he was younger. So that's why, it's like he heard this name when he was a kid. Then he gets to actually meet the guy. So it sounds like all he really remembers from growing up is just his parents fighting. I'm sure his mom was nice to him, but it sounds like Roger never was. So back at Roger's office, the clock says 10:32 a.m. There's a clock on the wall somewhere. It's fairly easy to read. It seems like the bigger the clock, the more they have it in such a way that it can be filmed around. Like, well, if we don't pan up that high, you can't see it, so it could be any time. And then if you have a teeny tiny clock like that, his face you can barely see, that's always in the shot, and I'll be damned what time it says. So this is when Carolyn lets him know that the sheriff came in to the Blue Whale the other night when Matthew and Burke were fighting. And this is news to Roger. He says, Burke thinks I sent Matthew to kill him, doesn't he? Well, I guess the sheriff showed up to the office. That's why they're talking. Okay. Why did my notes get so thin? That's okay. But yeah, Burke thinks I sent Matthew to kill him, doesn't he? The sheriff's like, yeah. Kind of like, how'd you guess? Oh, in the living room, David's saying he was 6 years old back then, and he remembers the fights. And that when he met Burke, that's when like the memory of the fights came back to him. And he mentions how Burke is his only friend. And Victoria says, I think David might ask if she likes Burke. And Victoria says she does like Burke, but he probably doesn't like her right now because she had to say something that he didn't like. She just backed up Roger last night, so he's probably not too happy with her. So that David just turns that around. He accuses her of making trouble for Burke and for himself. And then he says Victoria has a big mouth. Ooh. And then he just starts throwing a fit. He shoves some books off the table. He knocks a chair over. I think the back of it breaks. And he's throwing this fit. And that's when Roger comes in. And instead of like disciplining him, he just lets him run off to his room. It's like, oh, don't let him go. Don't worry about him. Miss Winters. He always calls her Miss Winters. Sometimes he calls her Vicky, but it's usually, especially when he's yelling at her, it's Miss Winters. Like, he doesn't have time to deal with, David right now because he's decided he's going to be nice to her. And he is only nice to Victoria when he wants something. He's usually just kind of like standoffish and whatever. But when he starts smiling and being accommodating and apologetic and nice, it's just because he wants something. He just turns it on and turns it off. And he kind of like low-key apologizes to her. He hasn't been very nice to her so far. And then he wants to make it up to her, and he invites her out to dinner some night. And Victoria's like, yeah, cool, yeah, we can do that sometime. And then he says he wants to understand David better. Victoria brings up the fights, and Roger's like, yeah, he remembers fights about Burke. Yeah, when David was about 6. Yeah, that's kind of coming back to him now, and maybe that's why David's so hostile. And this whole time, there's David outside the door eavesdropping. And Roger, he's being nice to Victoria. He's saying he's being nice to. Oh no, wait. How does that happen? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Victoria goes upstairs. So then Roger and David are talking. Roger's saying that he's only being nice to Victoria, so she'll be nicer to David, and he wants to make up for how he's treated David so far. This is very out of character for Roger, and that's when David starts plotting how to get Victoria fired. Roger's like, "Don't tell me about it." So over in the foyer, Carolyn is bummed out that Joe was out on an errand and couldn't do lunch. So she tells Victoria, she calls Joe a square, and everyone ships her with him. She cannot stand that. But then the phone rings. It's Joe. I guess he can do dinner. So dinner's on. So back in the living room. This is so. Roger has never been so nice to David and Victoria at the same time. That this is very odd. Like if you didn't, if there were like other magical elements going on, you would think like somebody put a spell on this dude. The way he is just being so reasonable. And Roger said, "Yeah, I'm a nice guy when I'm not stressed out." And David's like, "Because of Victoria?" Roger's like, "Yeah, would you rather be rid of me or her?" They've never spoken like, I don't think they've ever had a conversation like that before in their lives. And we see Roger's office for the credits. Like he's talking to his son like he's a person that he doesn't hate. What? What show am I watching? Who are these characters? All right, we are on episode 69. Nice. It's still the seventh day. Oh, my bad. This aired on September 27. That's wrong. September 29th, 1966. But it's the seventh day. It is still daytime. We're in Burke Devlin's room. There's Mrs. Johnson there to speak with him. And again, she's still done up looking like a widow, wearing all black, little hat on, little bit of a veil, purse, tissue. So she's just upset and determined. But Mrs. Johnson thinks that Bill Malloy was murdered, and the cops want to brush it under the rug. They don't want to. She said they don't want to investigate with half the sense the good Lord gave them. And she was very fond of Bill Malloy, and everybody knew it except him. And Bill would not harm anyone unless it was to protect Liz, and who he was fond of. He had that watch that he was wearing when he died. That was his father's watch. And Mrs. Johnson thinks that Bill Malloy washed ashore at Widow's Hill to point a finger at his killer, Roger Collins. And then she believes in signs and omens, so this is all making sense to her. So over in Roger's office, Carolyn has Joe paged, And Joe's, she's just sitting in her uncle's office, called. Joe walks in, and he was expecting to see Roger, not her. Like, oh, like I thought this was work related. What are you doing here, honey? But Carolyn wants him to take the day off. And Joe says, absolutely not. He gets hassled enough at work because he dates the owner's daughter. And Carolyn, she's just upset because of what Burke said about her Uncle Roger being a murderer. And she's using Joe to cheer her up and, distract her from it. She does not understand why this dude cannot drop everything and take her out to lunch. She has zero concept of what it's like to hold down a job. She's never had to. She probably never will. She doesn't understand what it's like to have to be in a place for a set amount of hours every day, every week. She's just upset. It's like she goes to his house and asks him to go hang out, and he says no. Like that's her reaction. This is his job. This is where money comes from. She wouldn't know. So she's just pitching a fit, just pouting. So back in Burke's room, Burke's saying like he was going to take down the Collins family, and Bill would have protected them by sacrificing Roger by proving he was guilty of Burke Devlin's murder charge. And Bill said he'd prove it to get Burke off of the Collins family's back. And Mrs. Johnson, if Roger was guilty? But Burke has to find out how Sam is involved. He doesn't understand that either. And he wants to get Mrs. Johnson into Collinwood. And Mrs. Johnson says she has no love for the Collins family. She'll do anything to help avenge Bill's death. I can't stand that family. I'll do whatever it takes. In so many words. Doesn't really spew out the hatred. She's just mad that, Mr. Malloy is. She always calls him Mr. Malloy. It's not Bill. It's always Mr. Malloy. Very, very respectful. So over in Roger's office, Carolyn says, Burke said Roger was involved with Bill's death and was going to have a meeting to say that Burke wasn't driving that night. So Joe's like, well, that means Roger would be guilty. And then Burke was engaged to Laura until she saw how rich Roger was. And he's still mad about it. Like us. Joe's just a little bit salty. So Carolyn says she wants Joe to take her to go sit on the beach. And Joe tells her no for the third time. Like, woman, I have to work. Like, the beach won't be there when he punches out. It's like there aren't weekends. She just doesn't. So over in Burke's room, he's saying that Victoria said Roger left at 10:50 p.m. And he doesn't want to think she was lying. He really doesn't want to believe Victoria. And Mrs. Johnson, you can't like her. You can't let your feelings get in the way. It's like she knows she's sweet on this girl. He's sweet on this girl. And that's just going to get in the way of finding an answer. She's got no time for it. So Burke says that Roger was at the meeting and he was totally chill, totally relaxed, even asked about Bill. And then Victoria was the one that found Bill's body. And Mrs. Johnson, there she goes. Oh, that ties them together. So back in Roger's office, Carolyn's bored and she's just giving Joe a hard time for going back to work. Like, girl, get a hobby. She is just clueless sometimes. So back in Burke's room, they're getting an idea together to get Mrs. Johnson into Collinwood. She was like, hey, you should get a job up at Collinwood. And Mrs. Johnson's like, it's useless to apply. But they can't talk about it anymore. There's a knock at the door. So Burke has Mrs. Johnson just like, well, here, go hide in the kitchen. Be quiet. I'll see who it is. So opens the door. It's Carolyn. And she's there saying that Roger denied everything. Burke's like, you don't say. Carolyn says Roger couldn't have killed Bill Malloy. You don't know him like I do. Burke says, you don't know him like I do. And then he brings up how, poor Mrs. Johnson was really affected by Bill's death, and she needs a job to just take her mind off of everything. And Bill did say she's the best housekeeper he ever had. And Carolyn's it's almost like she thinks she's having the idea herself. Hey, it'd be great if she came to work at Cottonwood. And she'll talk to Liz about it. And she's honestly, she's glad she can do something nice for someone for a change. So that's good. She's got a good spirit. And Burke calls her pretty. And then she has to leave. He's always got to, like, give her at least one compliment to just... And it goes right to her head, so it works. And then she just flutters on out of there. So she's gone. Get Miss Johnson back out of the kitchen. He doesn't want anyone to know that he and Mrs. Johnson are working together. And he doesn't think Carolyn's involved, but he cannot trust anyone at Collinwood. Anybody there is fair game. Roger's office for the credits. All right, we are on to episode 70. This aired on September 30th, 1966. It's daytime on that 7th day still. And we are in the living room. Victoria has a sweater on. This looks good. It must not be the last one. I think it's a little bit more fitted. Very flattering for her figure. I wouldn't necessarily call her a sweater girl, but she's Victoria's, let's just say she has a nice figure and this shows it off. Liz is wearing that swirly, sparkly brooch. It's about this big. It makes me think of fire or flames just kind of curling up around something. Then it's got some little, probably diamonds in it. I don't know if it's silver or gold because, you always see it later on. It might be gold. I'm not sure. I'd like it better if it was, but I want to say they do that. I swear they wear a lot of gold jewelry, and I prefer yellow gold. I don't like when everybody got on the kick with silver and silver, titanium, platinum, white gold. It all looks silver. And yeah, I can tell the difference between real silver and other stuff, but if you have a difference, it's either silver or it's gold. Any kind of white, silvery color, it's just silver. You can tell me it's titanium, I'm calling it silver. If you want to look fancy, get gold. I just prefer yellow gold. But anyway, enough about me. But yeah, Liz is speaking with Victoria in the living room, closes the doors, doesn't want anyone to overhear. I'll give you one guess as to who was eavesdropping right now. So there's David outside the door. If somebody's eavesdropping and it's not David, that's when it's like, oh wow, really? So Liz asks Victoria straight up, what do you think happened to Bill? And Victoria's like, well, I think it was an accident. And Liz agrees. Yeah, but Burke thinks Roger did it. So outside the door, Matthew Morgan catches David eavesdropping. And Dave's like, oh, I wasn't listening. I was just waiting for Miss Winters. So over there in the foyer, David's saying that there's a lady ghost in white that talks to David the most of all of them, and he drew her, and he'll show Victoria. She does not believe him. So in the living room, Matthew is telling Liz that he admits he did try to kill Burke because he warned him he would to fuck around and find out. And he's sorry he didn't do it. Damn, Matthew. It's like that. That is not cool. Don't be killing people on my behalf. Yeah, they'll think I told you to do it. She didn't say that, but don't be attempted murdering people in public, bruh. So over in the foyer, David got that picture, brought it down. So Victoria shows it to Matthew. And Matthew looks at it, and it's like when you see something you're not expecting to see, it kind of shakes him up. Oh, Renee Jr., glad you made it. Says, hey, Nikki, cool hat. It explains your logo, or vice versa. Yeah, thank you. I got the avatar first. And the top hat was actually a gift from Thick Rick. He's not in the chat room a lot. He's a old school, frankly, from Long Island. He's the one who actually, he's like a, because I always knew I would have a purple top hat, but I knew I would never buy it. And then he bought it for me. I forget exactly when, but it's been a while. So that's how that worked out. So yeah, he's a great guy. But yeah, you hand this piece of paper to Matthew, and he just kind of, we really haven't seen him get scared by anything before, and nothing's really made him pause quite like this. Sorry, I lost my spot. Okay, yeah, but he looks at that paper, and he looks up at David. He said, where did you get this? No, he says, where did you get this to Victoria? And, well, David drew it. Matthew looks right at David. He's like, you've been at the old house, haven't you? And if this is we've never heard of an old house before, so Victoria's like, oh, well, what's that? And he tells Victoria it's a dangerous place and to stay away. Oh, Renee said, LOL, that's cool. It fits you. Keep pimp and play it. Yeah, thank you very much. I feel better with it on. It hides like the gray hairs in the back and everything on top. I like it. I like it. It makes it a little bit warmer. It looks better. It's actually purple. I do have a black, top hat that I did buy, but that was that was before we met. It's if you know Harpo Marx's top hat, that's why a top hat, but purple is my color. So over in the living room, Victoria asks Liz about David's picture. Shows it to him. She looks at it for a second. then goes right over to that Collins family, like, book, and it's like super thick. And she opens it right up to a page. And she's mentioning how the old house is the original Collinwood, that there was the old house first, so Collinwood is, technically newer. But this drawing looks just like a picture of, and we've seen it before, there's like that picture of Josette Collins. But David insists that it's a ghost. It's the ghost from the old house. Oh, Renee says now purple has more swag in an OG funk kind of way, or a gothic rocker. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it just like it sucks I can't play an instrument. Like I know a little bit of keyboard, but I can't play a whole song. So yeah, it's classy. I've only got the one, so if something happens to it, I'm screwed. But yeah, Carolyn's home. She wants to talk to Liz. But over in the foyer, David is saying that he'll take Victoria to the old house after dark to go see the ghosts, and Victoria's cool with it. So in the living room, Carolyn says, Liz has too much to do with Roger and David here now, and she needs a housekeeper. And we see that book. It's on that picture of Josette Collins. So now it is night. We're in the foyer. It's 10:30 p.m. And David and Victoria are going out to see ghosts. And they tell Carolyn that, and she calls them both odd. So in the living room, Carolyn brings in some tea. And she tells Liz, oh, I've thought of someone who would be the perfect housekeeper. Mrs. Johnson. She's lonely since Bill died, and it'd be good for all of them. And that's what Bill would have wanted. So now we're in the woods. Like the outside shots are not very as crystal clear. Plus, it's nighttime. That's a shot we're getting. B Chap said, "Yep, the purple hat better than the black color because I'm already wearing black and I've got dark brown hair, so it was just I'll be one color. I feel like my hair gets frizzier in 2 hours, but anyway, it's yeah. Maybe I'll whip it out if I need a prop or something. Yeah, we're in the woods, and it's Victoria and David, and they're walking somewhere, and then they get to this house. It's got these big, wide white pillars. Like one person could not wrap their arms around these. You would need like maybe four of your friends holding hands like this to go around, and there's many of them. This is a big place. We are at the old house. First time we've been there. There's double doors to walk in, same as Collinwood. There's cobwebs. It's dirty. Some of the windows are broken. There's broken furniture knocked over. Just empty picture frames just leaning on the wall. Again dusty. It's like you walk in and there's this little foyer area. There's steps going upstairs, and then you make a hard left and you're in what we're going to call the drawing room. That's why I don't call the living room at Collinwood a drawing room. We're going to call this the drawing room. There's windows in the back, like a bay window. Some of those are broken. And then we've got a fireplace and, maybe like a picture. There's always a picture above a fireplace, so that's over there. But there's no lights lit or nothing like that. This is just an abandoned big house. But David's been all through it. He knows all of these rooms. You could kind of hear the wind blowing, so you really do get the sense that like the windows are broken and you got cold air blowing in. So it's sure it's not very comfortable. And Victoria's just kind of looking around, and she looks up at the portrait that's above the fireplace, and she recognizes Josette. It's like, oh, it's like she hasn't seen that before. And then David denies copying it. Like, no, like I just I drew the ghost that I saw. It's it was a copy. Come on. Oh, Nightcock said every good streamer needs a signature hat. Yeah, thank you. I like it. Other people wear like baseball caps and uh I don't know. Who else wears a hat? I mean, like sometimes Frank does. But David is saying that Josette cannot leave Collinwood until a third girl dies at Widow's Hill, and he really hoped Victoria would be the third girl. And we kind of can't dwell on how nasty that is because then we hear footsteps, and it's we don't really know who it is until they're walking in through the door. It's Matthew Morgan. It's like I told you to stay away. That they ought to tear this place down. And David flips out. No, they can't tear it down. It's my house. Nightcock, baseball caps, while common, do count unless it's an Astros hat, then that disqualifies you. Oh, burn. That's not a hat. So in the living room, Carolyn's still trying to, sell Liz on Mrs. Johnson, and Carolyn's kind of like, like low key. Mrs. Johnson's worked for us too. I mean, she worked for Bill, who worked for the family. So, like in a roundabout way, she kind of really did, if you want to think about it like that. And saying like, oh, poor Mrs. Johnson, she must feel like a widow. Besides, I heard she's a good cook. That'll come up later. And Liz is just, oh, I'll think about it. Then back at the old house, Matthew says, a legend says Josette was unhappy away from her family. He walks them home, but the camera's still in the living room, and Josette's ghost appears from the portrait. It's like they dressed an actress up in white and just had this ghostly image just come from the up high and just get closer to the camera. But this image, they turn it. I forget if they turn it into a person or if it's just the image. But no, they actually use a real actress because then she comes down from the painting through the the drawing room, and walks outside, and then we get an outside shot of some lady, white dress, just kind of going in and out through those pillars, just kind of walking around in a big flowy white dress the way anybody would. So yeah, spooky stuff happened at Collinwood. Well, with that book open up by itself, now we're seeing an actual real ghost. I would say this property is haunted. It happens twice. I'm just waiting for a third time personally. And we get a shot of the old house for the credits. So yeah, spooky stuff. That's the end of disc 8. Just a coincidence that I'm stopping there. So yeah, that gets us up to, next time will be episode 71. B-Chap said, yeah, baseball caps are alright. Although also remember not to try to buy and use baseball caps with adjustable straps and the metal clip, not comfortable. Ooh, yeah. I've never worn a bra with a wire in it because I've never heard anything good about that kind of a thing. Oh, baseball caps with the plastic strip and the buttons are better. Yeah, that sounds like it would be better. Oh, Bill Cooper said that hat looks great on you, Nikki. Best color ever. Oh, thank you. Nightcock trucker hat, yeah. All right, it's not one of those hats with like you put the two drinks in and like the what's the one? I think it was just on The Simpsons, but it's a sombrero, and then in here is like all the nacho cheese, and then you just break like it's all made out of chips, so you just break off and like cheese and like yeah, I want the cartoon hat. I do always wear hats when I go outside too. I wear two hats because it's cold outside. Actually, what like the one hat or the bandana just keeps my other hat still, and then like I got those Sunday afternoons hats with the strap so they can't blow off. Yeah. Yeah, so that gets us up to where we are in Dark Shadows. Again, Friday, it seems like Frank is doing a 7 o'clock show. It might be on that second channel, but just the fact it's going to be at 7, I don't need to be doing a full show and then have to be worried about the battery going for that. So it's a very almost definite maybe no show on Friday for myself. But again, I'm going to wait until we go to Quite Frankly tomorrow, see what he says. And then I will put it out in a tweet and a post here on YouTube to let folks know. I'll most likely won't be doing a show, but again, I'm just gonna, it's up in the air until I hear what Frank says. So we'll run with that. And of course, I'm going to be here next Saturday. I'm here every Saturday for New Year's Day. That will be year 26. Nightcock beanies are cool. Yeah, like I couldn't wear like a form fitting hat, especially with all this frizzy hair coming out. Oh, and to go to said, yeah, but caps with a Velcro size adjustment strap are better, in my opinion. Huh. Like baseball caps do not look good on me, so I'm certainly not in the market. I understand why people wear them. I think there's a better way for, especially women, to be like covering up their eyes than wearing a baseball cap. I'll be Chip. Yeah, we'll likely try to check out, quite frankly, when possible. Yeah, Frank is live on Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, he's got that. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Sounds like it's going to be on a different channel. Again, that's up in the air until he says so himself in about less than 24 hours. We'll get it directly from the man's mouth and proceed from there. But definitely Saturday. I'm not sure if I'm going to talk about Dark Shadows. I'm not sure if I'm going to get in a mood and want to talk about The Mummy from 1999. But it is New Year's Day, so I will be in front of you guys, and we'll just go for it. It feels like it's very far away. It feels like it's about a week and a half away, and it's just a few days. I get that, but time feels twice as long for me, so it still feels like it's far off. But that's all right. That gives us some time to like talk in a chat room for a while. It's weird to just only be talking with my voice and not typing at people. So it'll feel more natural to get back in the chat room, even though this is pretty chill. As long as the equipment holds up, I feel like after a year and a half, I'm starting to get used to it. So yeah, thank you guys for having a couple extra hours on a not Saturday, on a Tuesday. Yeah. If you like Dark Shadows, you can watch it yourself for free right now on Tubi. The link is in the description for the show and for the channel. I'm on Dark Shadows the beginning. The part most people know is just Dark Shadows, no subtitles. Nightcock, you don't have to block as many people this way. Oh, it's fine. Most people are not. Most folks don't have to be blocked. They just sort of come in and they don't know how to act because they're not reading the room, and then they figure it out. Renee said, I'll see you, Nikki, and fellow Franklies. Gotta get back to work before I get hit over the head with the newspaper or something. Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm working. See, I'm touching stuff. I just phone, just pretend. Oh, I'm writing. See, writing. This is how people write. So yeah, it's great seeing you guys. I love you guys. Thanks for giving me a platform where I can see you guys whenever, quite frankly, is off the air and on Saturdays. Still, buy me a coffee is still up in the air. So if you do super chat into the show, I've got Venmo opened up. Not a demanding donations or anything like that. It's just there if you can, and if not, No worries. As long as you're showing up and having a good time, that's what really matters at the end of the day. That matters more than subs and likes and comments and all the positive stats that YouTube likes. I know that's important, but I know it's important to just have a good time. And if you had a good time for a couple hours, then woohoo! So I love you guys. Stay based, stay sexy, have a good meal, get some good sleep, drink some water, smoke out on the balcony. Don't use AI. Maybe don't be friends with Roger Collins. He's going to throw you under the bus at some point. Oh man, so the next time I will see you guys will be next year for me. I mean, I'll see you in the chat room, but you won't physically see me until next year in a few days. So there's that. And then we'll just take year 26 as it comes. But yeah, I love you guys all again. You guys are the best. Thanks for being Franklies. Thanks for being here. Don't forget your pants. You will need those, quite frankly, for probably the next 3 days. And yeah, it was great to see everyone. Yeah, good stuff. So I love you all again.